Hey guys, SickMotion here with the patch 9.3 notes, my opinions and whatnot on them. So starting right out, Aatrox got gutted. He no longer heals for a percentage of the champion or the damage he deals to non-champions. It doesn't seem like that much when you're like, oh yeah, it was only 3% to non-champions, but when you think when he's AoEing down a giant minion wave with all those abilities and just all of the extra damage he's been doing to the minions for free, that's actually quite a lot of sustain that he's missing out on. So he has far less sustain in lane, and his E, the dash, no longer can store 2 charges. It can only store 1. The cooldown on it is brought down a lot, but since you only have 1 dash, it's going to be harder to chain out combos with it. So now at level 1 it's 9 seconds, and then it goes down to 5 seconds. And once you have max CDR, it'll obviously be 40% off of that. But I don't know, I think storing the dash has probably felt a lot better. And just the fact that he doesn't get sustained from hitting the minions in lane, or jungle if you were jungling on Aatrox, I think he's going to be hit pretty hard by those changes. So I didn't see, I mean, I don't see an Aatrox every day, but I definitely didn't see anyone trying to play Aatrox today. Callie, so she also got hit with this sustain. She got more health regen, but she lost the healing on her Q when it's above 90%. So she no longer gets that healing, and her shroud no longer prevents her from being seen by towers. So she tries to dive you under a tower, the tower will see you, I'm assuming, shoot you as well. So that's actually a really nice change. It's so frustrating playing against the Callie when you just don't feel like there's any counterplay, and she's doing that. She's dumb enough as it is. She doesn't need to have that stealth from towers any longer. Camille can no longer hookshot to stun minions and monsters. That'll hurt her jungle sustain a little bit, just because won't have those free moments of no damage. Cassio continuing to get nerfed here. They nerfed her, I don't know if it was last patch or the one before it, but they nerfed her again here. Her Q, AP ratio up, but base damage down. The build where Cassio takes Meteor and levels up her Q first relies a lot on that base damage. It'll scale a bit better later on, but at level 5 of the Q, if you're leveling it first, it does 40 less damage, just base. So that's going to hurt a little bit. And her W, pretty big change here, goes up to 110 mana at level 5. I mean, you're building mana items and stuff on her anyway, but that's quite a big change there. The damage per second is down quite a bit, and the maximum damage is down by 100 at level 5. I mean, they're probably not standing on your W for the full duration of it, but just big nerfs across the board there. I actually haven't seen or played myself any Cassio top in a while, so surprised they're still going after her. But I don't really watch competitive stuff, really, so maybe it's something to do with that I didn't see. Bunch of redistributing power on Aurelia. She has higher base armor, higher health growth, so she gets a little tankier. Her passive no longer gives her damage per stack. It gives her attack speed per stack, and the amount that of attack speed that it gives you per stack will go up at level 7 and 13. And there's 5 stacks now rather than just 4. Before you used to get damage per stack, and then at max stacks you gain the attack speed. Now you're gaining attack speed per stack, and you still get damage, but not until max stacks, and you have to get 5 stacks to get that damage. So it's going to be one more that you have to get there. It's just kind of be kind of weird to play her now. At the max stacks, you gain 60% attack speed if you're over level 13, and depending on your level on the max stacks bonus, you gain 15 to 66 flat damage, and then it has a 0.25 AD bonus AD ratio, so it doesn't count your base damage. I haven't looked at the numbers or anything to see how that compares to how she was before. I think it's to try and take down how fast she can just ramp up and burst you down in a fight, so that she actually has to do her dancing stuff. The bonus damage to minions on the Q is up a bit, just because she doesn't get that bonus damage per stack until it's maxed 5 stacks. W 50% damage reduction to physical, so they reverted the change where they nerfed it a bit, but it doesn't reduce magic damage at all. So it's a 0% magic damage reduction. It's only for physical damage. So she's less good against magic matchups in lane and against magic team comps in general. And her E, the hitbox visuals are easier to see. I don't know what they changed on that, so I haven't seen it. Let's see here. Not going to go through all of that. This patch also changed all of the crit items and reworked through all of them. Obviously, mainly an AD carry change. I don't really build crit items on any champion. Any champions that I play. Phantom Dancer used to be part of some builds, but yeah, this is mainly for AD carries. Basically, the Infinity Edge is 25% crit chance again, no longer doubles it, and just gives you flat AD and crit. That's all it does. It's basically just like you need damage for your crit to be even worth it. So this is one of the items that just gives you damage and crit, because you have all the Zeal items that don't give you damage, but they give you attack speed and crit. And also all crit items, other than the Cloak of Agility and the Brawler's Glove, obviously, but all completed crit items give 25% crit. So if you want 100% crit, you have to go for the 4-item build. Yasuo only has to build 2 because of his passive. Essence Reaver changed back to a crit item, so it gives 25% crit chance. No longer grants mana, but basic attacks still do refund the mana. Based on your missing mana. Doesn't have the Essence Flare part of it anymore either. This used to get built on like Renekton and Riven and whatnot because of that Essence Flare passive, which is now moved on to the Spear of Sojin. So the cost is 3,400. The build path for it, for the champions that would be building it though, it's still a BF sword, but it's going to be a Kindle Gem and a Longsword. It gives you health as well. So it's actually going to be kind of nice. Like building it on Renekton, you'd be too squishy. Building a second item on Jax, like for the old Essence River I'm talking about. If you went Trinity Force into Essence River on Jax, it's a lot of money, and you don't have much bonus health from it. Even that extra little 250 actually feels like quite a bit. So getting the second item on champions that would want it isn't going to feel as bad anymore. It's also another item that fills the slot of, it's an AD item, it's a health item, and it's a cooldown reduction item. So it's 80 health cooldown reduction, and it's 20%. So it's kind of similar to a cleaver, and champions that build cleaver but don't necessarily need the cleaver move speed or the shred might be switching to this if it works for them. And then it has the passive, your next basic attack after casting your ultimate grants the passive for 6 seconds, granting you 50% attack speed and 20% basic ability cooldown refund on basic attack. So basically what the Essence Reaver was before. Also, it does give you health, which is nice. The mana before wasn't being used. You build it on like Riven, you build it on Renekton. That mana wasn't helpful at all, and the mana refund wasn't helpful at all, obviously. It does have less attack damage than it did before. The old Essence Reaver to now this has a little bit less attack damage, but I think the way that it gives health now and the build path for it will make it feel a lot better and be seen a lot more. It's also going to be really good on champions that are like just big bruisery health AD stackers, like probably like something like Kled, Renekton, that just want to go like Cleaver, Spear, and then like a Titanic Hydra and a Sterix. You'll have a ton of health and then be able to like bust off with this without actually building much defense. Storm Razor got changed. It no longer gives you that crit the way that it does. Basically everything's kind of been balanced down. It builds out of the thing that builds in the shard that builds into the Zeal and a rapid fire cannon. And the new passive on it is movement and basic attacks generate energized stacks. At 100 stacks, your next basic attack deals 65 bonus magic damage on hit and slows the target by 40%, decaying over 1 second. So that slow is actually going to be pretty annoying if you get hit by an AD carry that slows, because they're going to be able to kite you around with it. They can either choose to chase you down if you're running, or back away and kind of just keep you at arm's reach with that. Also, the passive is your other energized effects are 30% more effective and also slow their target by 40%. So you can imagine getting hit by a the Shiv. You get hit by a Shiv, it's AoE and it slows everyone over that time, and then the AoE ends up doing more. And if you end up having enough crit, that AoE crits as well. So it still kind of does like a little bit of burst on hit, but it's slightly less damage because it's not focused on the crit. It's more focused on the utility of it. Um, Phantom Dancer got changed here. It now gives you a shield. It's 25% crit chance, just like all the other full crit items, finished ones. If you take damage that would reduce your health below 30%, gain a shield that absorbs 240 to 600 damage. Scaling starts at level 9, ends at 18. For 2 seconds, and it's on a 90-second cooldown. One thing that's important to note about this shield is it's if you would take damage that would reduce your health below 30%, you gain that shield, not just you gain the shield once you drop below, because a lot of times you might just get like one hit by that damage or get put into a position where you don't want to go back in, but the shield will proc and then absorb the damage that would have dropped you lower anyway. And when they were first showing this, I don't think it scaled up to 600, but the fact that that's 600 is actually pretty big. You can imagine an 80 carry that's about to die, and you flash on them, and then they have their Phantom Dancer passive up, and then they get saved by that. That would be pretty annoying. The passive is Lifeline, so I'm assuming it makes it that you can only get this or a Hex Drinker or the Steric. So if you're getting this, I'm assuming Hex Drinker is out of the plan. And then grants unit pass through and 7% movement speed for 2 seconds after basic attacking a champion. So sort of similar, but you don't have to stay in range. You just have to basic attack them. So someone like Caitlyn obviously wouldn't really want a Phantom Dancer when you had to be within 550 range, because that's lower than her auto attack range. But now it's just 2 seconds after attacking. So I think that's kind of cool. I think it's going to be annoying, honestly, trying to kill 80 carries with that. The Shard costs a little bit less. Zeal costs a little bit less. All of the Zeal builds cost 200 less, I think. And they all give 25% crit from what they were before. The Shiv also gives a little bit more attack speed as well. Last Whisper is now 20% total armor penetration. So you're not just going for... The Last Whisper felt really bad to build before, let's be fair. It costs 150 more, but for that extra 150, you're getting double the attack damage and double the total armor pen. The Last Whisper felt like garbage once you had it, and then once you fully finished a Dominic's Regard or Mortal Reminder, it felt really good, which those two ended up getting nerfed as well by 5 damage. But I think this, just getting the Last Whisper and being able to, you don't necessarily have to get the full Last Whisper build into the Dominic's or the Mortal Reminder to feel like you're actually having any armor pen. So that's going to be nice. There's some build suggestions here if you want to go and check those out for 80 carries. I'm not going to really look at that. And then into the actual champion changes, Lysandra, her Q is up a little bit, and her Glacial Path mana cost, damage is down, and the endpoint now shows through terrain, Fog of War, and brush to enemies within 600 range of it. I don't know how it was after they did the last changes on it, but I know before, if you made the Glacial Path like spawn in the middle of the terrain, you would end up appearing on the other side of the wall as long as you placed it right, but they would not know that you were coming, so you could do like really cheesy, annoying ganks with it. So I think the visual clarity is good there. Sion actually got nerfed pretty hard here, and I like Sion. I play Sion. It's like probably my favorite tank top lane. I agree with these changes, honestly. He's really hard to deal with if he just builds a little bit tanky and just tries to stay alive and isn't playing dumb. He's really hard to deal with. Now his W is a 15-second cooldown at level 1 rather than 11, and then it scales back down to 11. Gives you more of a reason to level this up. I didn't level W for a very long time. I've been leveling it lately, but now there's more reason to level it. But there's going to be more windows of opportunity to trade, and Sion's going to have a little bit less damage, not being able to pop it for that percentage health damage as much anymore. And the minimum damage on his Q has gone down by 10 at any level, and the full charge damage, which is 3 times the minimum damage, has gone down by 30 at any level. So, little bit of nerfs there. And oh, this is the thing. Monster and minion gold bounties will you'll basically stack up a bounty when you're behind slower than you did before. It was really annoying. Like, say you're ending up 0-4 and you're just trying to farm back into the game, and you end up getting some peaceful farm time where you're not getting killed anymore, and you farm up like 80, 100 CS, and then you look at the scoreboard to realize you have like a 500 gold bounty. Even though you're still weak and behind their team and you're barely caught up, you now have a bounty, so they get extra money for killing someone who's weak. that didn't make sense. So now, when you die with 200 less monster minion gold than the enemy team on average, sorry, that's just the example there. It's not the actual numbers. But basically, if you die and you're behind, you won't get that bounty as fast because you'll have a buffer where you have to farm back how much you're behind before you start stacking that bounty up. The numbers are here, but basically you'll find that you get a bounty less and you'll be punished less for trying to farm back from being behind, which I agree with. The loading screen also got updated. You can now check people's mastery score on their champion. So basically, if someone has no mastery score on the champion, you might assume that they're bad. Might be a different account, but you can kind of see that just from the loading screen. Every portrait is now clickable. There's only one loading bar, so you can't actually tell who has the toaster computer, and it's who's holding up the load screen. And you can see your team's rank. Ranked armor and level border depending on which they've shown to display. And rank borders now dynamically update to reflect your current rank rather than your rank like last year. So I agree with that. It is weird that you can see your teammates' rank, but you can't see the enemy's rank. I don't see what the point of hiding the enemy's rank is. But it feels like the matchmaking is really bad, and it's putting you... I've been having games that have Platinum 4 people in their roles. They might not be Platinum 4 in their highest role, but if they're playing Platinum 4 at an 80 carry and that's what they play at, they're basically Platinum 4. So that I've had Platinum 4 all the way up to Master all in the same game. So it makes for really skewed games. Maybe that's why they're not showing it. They don't want to see how bad the skewing of the matchmaking is. I don't know, but I find that weird that they didn't include that. And then I guess Valentine's Day is soon, so there's some Valentine's Day skins, and that's about it. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next patch note video. And also, I've been uploading. I'm sure you guys have seen it probably, if you're on the YouTube channel anyway. I've been taking a little bit of time to upload replays from games on stream, so I'll be trying to upload a handful of those, maybe 2 or 3 at least a week, for the foreseeable future, so you guys can check those out too in between these patch reviews. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.